All right. Hey, good morning, y'all. Today we are going to be working on launching an MCP for VibeSafe. So this new feature here, little overview of what an MCP is. Basically, this is the equivalent of an API, but specifically for LLM and agents. So it's just going to be the new protocol for developing standardized tools. Instead of everybody having to build their own bespoke custom tools for their use case, now we're going to be able to have shared tools that follow a specific schema and setup and make it where anybody can integrate it into their AI systems. The easiest way here to integrate these today is through an MCP client, which is going to be like Cursor, for example, or Claude is set up for this, to where you can connect these MCPs, and it's basically like a toolkit that you can just strap onto your AI agent or your LLM. A cool website we have here is Smithery. Here, let me go ahead and move this over real quick on my vertical. So you can see smithery.ai here. This is a great website and resource to come to just get access to a bunch of MCP servers that are already built. So you see like DuckDuckGo, Brave, browser based. There's a bunch of tools here that you don't have to worry about building tools for your AI agents. You can come here and use these ones. There's ones for Slack in here, all kinds of things. So today's goal is we are going to build an MCP server using the TypeScript SDK, and I am going to take all of the functionality that we have in our node package, and I'm going to convert it over into an MCP server. So that way that when people are coding in Cursor, Windsurf, whatever they want to be using, and they want to just tell their agent to, hey, do a security scan of their app, then that agent will get access to every tool that we've built at VibeSafe and give it to it so it can discretionarily call those functions and understand how to use each one of those key functions that we have for our scanners and everything else. So if you guys are curious about this, you can always jump over. Uh, my name on on GitHub is slowcoder360, and this is our VibeSafe package. This is completely open source. I welcome anybody who wants to come on in, give us a rating, come look at my code, roast me or try it out. We just broke 200 downloads on npm, so I'm super psyched about this. Yeah, this is my first time doing an open source project, anything like that. So I'm no master. I'm no wizard. Kind of like the stream we did yesterday. I made that joke. Like, there's code wizards out here, and if anything, I'm more of a code hobbit. So I'm really just trying to build this community around helping people build safe apps and trying to keep hackers from being able to kick over people's sandcastles. So with no further ado, we're going to jump in and kind of walk through the process that I have here. So as I always do, I start my development workflow by talking through my idea for a feature or a full app with ChatGPT, and then I will use the deep research feature for it to build out a full PRD document. And so I'll take this and I'll download this PRD document, which walks through what's the purpose of it, what are we trying to do, what's the architecture look like, what's the directory structure, and what components specifically are we building, what are the specific tools that we're going to actually build here. And we are going to take this whole thing and we are going to grab it. We're going to just copy it nice and easy. And then we are going to jump over here to Cursor. You can see here in this Cursor window, I went ahead and I already pulled over and cloned our normal VibeSafe repo into here to just kind of give additional context. And then another thing that I do is I went and grabbed the official docs. Hold on, I gotta move my window over. Just little bit of management here this morning. All right, here we go. And so here, one of the core and most important features of Cursor, I feel like, is this right here in the features tab, you have the section for code base indexing. And so all you have to do to use this feature is go to whatever docs of whatever third-party code you want to use, grab the link for that docs section, right? And then you click this add docs button, which is right here. You hit that add docs button, you paste it in up here, give it a name, and it goes ahead and it recursively goes through that entire set of documents and pulls in all the documentation for that code. Because I ran into this issue where the AI agent definitely feels like it already knows what's inside the documentation and how to use certain code. But most of the time it's outdated. There's been some kind of breaking change since, and it normally runs me into walls. So I always make sure that I force feed the fresh new documentation to the agent when I want it to do something. And so you can see here at the bottom, I have the MCP docs in here. And if we look here and look at this icon down here, you can see that it says that it's indexed 104 pages from the official model context protocol. Okay, so now that we have this, I'm going to come here and just in the package, we're going to do two things. One, I'm going to add this prd.md file. We're going to go ahead and paste in what we had there. Okay, so that's our entire PRD file. I'm going to go ahead and remove this part of the prompt above it. I'm going to go ahead and save that. And then I'm going to also make this new folder called .cursor. And I'm going to do a folder within that called rules. Then I'm going to do one in here. This is going to be basic rules. It's like the MDC. Let me pull up another. Let me pull up another package or product folder. Let's see. File, window. Oops. Oh no, if I open it. Okay, basic rules.mdc. This we're gonna rename this. Okay, and that you see here with that specific file name, it gives me these settings of when to apply these rule sets. And so I'll choose this for always. Come on, we're lagging around a little bit. Yeah, I'm using this new plugin for OBS to essentially have a little green screen. Here we go. Now it's there. It just took a second. Okay, so these are all my basic rules for how I want this agent to act. And the big things here are making sure that it always reads my code before it assumes a fix or a way to do things. Make sure that it stays within scope and only does what I ask, because definitely it's especially with the models like Claude 3.7, it wants to run off the rails and make a bunch of really complex things for no reason. So I try to make sure it stays as simple as possible and as focused as possible. Another huge thing that probably 10x the quality of my code was forcing it to never rewrite an entire file, for it to only choose the specific lines that it needs to edit and to edit those. That really helped. And then just trying to get a safeguard in there to keep it from overriding logic without approval. A big strategy here is version controlling and making sure that once you have a feature set the way you want it to be set, that you push that to Git, so that you commit it to Git, so that even if it hallucinates and accidentally removes something, you're going to be able to come back and save it. because I've definitely kind of screwed myself over by rushing through features instead of being very disciplined with my version control. And that's the main thing that's going to really save you a lot of time and headache in these projects. I also have it scan the entire project, looking at folders, files, and existing components, because I've always had an issue in my projects of the cursor agent ended up making like 3 or 4 lib folders in different places. So by having this rule, it really helps. And then the last one here is like when cursor eventually does get stuck on a problem that it's really struggling with, I'll have it stop and list 5 to 8 specific or potential issues that could be causing the problem, to then take those and narrow it down to the top 1 or 2, and then use precise logging to verify which one of those 2 that it is. And that's really helped it break through and get through a lot of the kind of coding errors or blocks that it's had. And then my last one here is always consider downstream effects. I try to get it to scan for other functions or other parts of the application that are using the code that it's changing, so that we can kind of understand what we're going to need to go look at next to make sure that we didn't break something. Now that's a one that's a work in progress, but it's helped a lot. These basic rules made it where my code quality is up, my speed is up. It's definitely something like I would set this in any project I do. Okay. So now we're gonna move over here and talk with the agent. Like I said, we already pulled over the GitHub repo for VibeSafe, the npm package, and now we're gonna use the TypeScript SDK for the MCPs to build this out. So now I'm gonna come in here and tell it, first I'm gonna give it the context of the cursor rules. You can see that's one of the options in the main drop down over here. Basic rules. And then I'm also gonna do at PRD and reference the PRD doc. And ask it, say, please review PRD and the at MCP. So I already had the MCP, so all I have to do is hit that @ sign and start typing in the name, and it's going to automatically show up in my little window. So I'm going to say, please review the PRD and the MCP docs. Gain context of this project. We're going to let it think here for a minute. Cool. So now it's got full context, and this is set on agent auto, but I prefer to use the Gemini 2.5 Pro EXP. And I use the 0325 version, so it's cheaper. But I've definitely noticed the benefit of using that larger million token context window for it to be able to fully keep the project in its context. And so we might just go ahead and rerun that last command now that just to make sure we got Gemini 2.5 fully up. I don't know how the backend cursor works, but I've had issues sometimes where if I switch from one model to another, that it kind of loses its context. Cool. So this one gave a much more abbreviated key goals, tools to be set up. Okay, so it knows it's read the, and so this is something that I've noticed is it also will kind of it shows that it thought and that it read through the model context protocol thing, but all it says is that it walks through the MCP documentation. Okay, cool. I'm reading MCP docs. Do we need to add steps to PRD? build this project. And I like it to just critically look at it that way. And I think we're gonna what I'm missing here is normally in my PRD documents I set up the atomic task list broken into phases so that it can kind of put it into single chunks instead of trying to just shoot the whole thing out. Quite comprehensive, providing a strong foundation for building the VibeSafe MCP server. Good. Okay, at the bottom of the at please in here we have we don't. Please create paste of the steps follow building object. To touch on this, so the core kind of features that we're bringing into this MCP we talked about, the secret scan, which helps with just looking through your entire code base, looking for high entropy strings or specific things, strings that have specific prefixes to it. You know, like your AWS key kind of starts with the same thing always. Same with the OpenAI key starts with that SK. So it's looking for those. And then we also just launched our 1.3. So that is a new secure install. Went through that on the last live stream where researchers have found that models, especially coding models, will hallucinate up to 20 to 25% of the time when they try to import a new package. And so hackers know this and they've started building malicious packages that are just slightly off skewed in spelling, or that they've found that models often kind of hallucinate on. And so models are just inadvertently installing like malware and bad packages and really messing people's projects up. And so we built this new kind of structure for secure install where instead of doing npm install or pip install, you'd be able to just do VibeSafe install. And it's kind of a wrapper on that install command so that it'll go ahead and it pings the API at npm and actually will do kind of a check to see like, hey, is this package like relatively new? Does it have relatively low downloads? So the first flag is if that package is less than 3 months old, it'll give you a warning. If it gets less than 50 downloads a week, it'll give you a warning. If there's no README license or project URL attached to that package in npm, then it'll also give you a warning. It'll still allow you to download it if you want to. You just have to put a Y or an N to kind of decide. And if it doesn't find any issues with the package, it'll just let it download without you having to confirm anything. Yeah, and so that's kind of the hope here is setting this tool up to kind of just be that second check for any coding agents, and especially now building it as an MCP tool, it'll make it super easy because I feel like as they keep getting better, as these models keep getting better, and we keep having more autonomous code generation, we just need to kind of set these tools as guardrails for the agents so that they don't inadvertently download malware or enable bad actors. So that's the whole big thing here. Also, we have the vulnerability scan. So it's easy. We have the API connected for OSV, which is kind of like a big manager of any kind of vulnerabilities that have been found in packages. So we'll scan through your entire package.json file. We're working on doing the package lock file as well, but it'll scan through every one of those dependencies and ping against the API to see if there's any kind of vulnerabilities in there to let you know so you can just update it, as well as we start looking through for configuration scans, um, setting it up so that if we see an debug true or some other flags that kind of make things overly permissive, like if the core's permissions are set to allow anybody to access or like ping your APIs, we'll throw a flag and a warning to let you know like, hey, this is a potential avenue of attack. Let's keep going while I'm rambling on. Looks like you just wrote the same things. Okay, here we go. So if we look into this output, now it's broken into steps of everything we need to do. Okay, we already have the project. Project. Project setup. And I also pulled down VibeSafe repo into the VibeSafe folder so you can take all of the scanners, rebuild, and use them in this MCP folder. Oh man, there's an MCP folder right here. Sometimes it bugs out, but okay, so just letting them know, and it kind of makes it easier for it that we grabbed all those tools. Now it just needs to kind of change how it defines the schema for those tools and gives some good descriptions on those tools to make it easier for the AI agent or LM to use them. Cool. So created a package .json file inside of the MCP folder. Okay. Okay, sometimes we got to do this. Let's go ahead and let's jump over here. Let's see. I'm gonna try again. But we can come over here and jump into this, and we have a TypeScript SDK. And yeah, I'll context photo stuff. Okay. TypeScript one. Yep. Jump back to our thing. All right, so I did the right command here and got all the right things added. Cool. So let's go ahead. I'm gonna jump back here. And so the beauty of taking that extra setup time, just the extra couple minutes of creating that really detailed PRD and setting up those cursor rules, it makes it where very much I can really let the agent work through the code without me really doing anything. I haven't quite committed to the YOLO mode where it just runs and runs and runs on its own. Um, because I still, even with this setup, even though it reduces like 90% of my errors, there's still that 10% where it's just going to run off and do something silly. So I try to make sure that I'm going through and reading and watching it. But I can already feel myself falling into the complacency of just letting it do its thing. And so that's kind of really another side of why I built this VibeSafe tool and I made it open source for everybody to use. I know complacency kills, and I can't really blame people for choosing what's easy because it's naturally what we try to do as humans. Our brain's trying to save calories. So setting up these tools to kind of help everybody get to where they want to be of just really letting the AI run on its own is, I think, a great place to be. Okay. So it's just went through and knocked out steps 1.1 through 1.5. And this is something else I like to do. So I'll ask it, hey, please update the, the PRD doc with your progress. You can use brackets at the front, task item, mark progress. Okay. And I make sure that in these runs that I consistently have that PRD plan there as part of the message, as well as those basic rules, and just keep them there. Because I've noticed like it's, especially once your package starts getting bigger, it's really easy to um, just run through your context window and you end up running out of it. What's going on here? changes. Looks like there was one on here. Break the change. This is the job estimate. Idea. Maybe. Hey, hold on, hold on. Hold on. Folder. Okay. Move the package. Mm-hmm. already in the fruit. It's already in the root, bro. Super fun start to the project. But this is me setting up folders in the project myself instead of just letting it do its thing. I'll just do it for you. Moving things for you. There we go. Magic. Thanks, sorry for sending us down that rabbit hole. Scan the file tree, get updated. There, everything is, and let's move forward. You see my PRD didn't make it into the context of that. Cool. So we're gonna go ahead and it's gonna make tools folder. Okay, so yeah, be in the right place. There you go. You can go through. There you go. Now you made them. Good job. I could give a cookie to this agent. Move on over. Okay, now we're going to move into actually doing the scanners. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to grab this file. Secrets.ts. Notice that if I have the actual window open in here, it makes it much easier for me to go ahead and actually call it or to reference it inside the chat here. Move myself over. See. Cool. Good. Okay, so we're gonna do that. Here is the secret. VibeSafe pitch. Wondering if I have any other utils in here. No. Come on, man. They allow me to use the source folder. There you go. Yeah. The beauty here, what helps a lot is that I already know that all of this code works in our core tool. Oh, you function that weird. So you just, okay, hold on. Sometimes I'll get this weird thing where the line breaks don't actually work. So I just have to kind of come in here and sometimes I just have to remind the agent, hey, your tool output wasn't structured correctly. Please take a moment. Keep it scan tool. I fixed imports. Fix schema. I structure again. See if the ends are getting stuck in there. That's interesting. Yeah, that's not your issues, buddy. You keep having \n and breaks time and think through full usage for doing so. Copy. This is what your function. There you go. All right. Thank you very much. Great job. Full scheme is defined, and so it's going to be an optional. So with our VibeSafe package, we've made it where the user, you can either run the scan on your entire project, or you can simply do it again. Release it. There you go. Tool is not defined. Right? No. So that's the thing about TypeScript, man. Very picky. But yeah, and then also on edge cases like this, where this is like brand new code, where the MCP is something extremely new, and the underlying LLMs haven't had a chance to really consume it. It takes a lot more time. It takes a lot more practice. So we are definitely not losing coding anytime soon. It's running. Boom. Connect to the MCP server. Are you gonna get hung up there? Okay, if I move this to the background and I move this down to our terminal, let this keep going. Speaker scan didn't cause any media crashes. Um, Good testing. Okay, so let's just turn that one off. And run that. Okay. The build's going to go fine, then it's going to spin up the server, and then it's going to run a test code. Cool. So see there, it hallucinated or just like assumed what the actual client name was. And so it's important to feed it in that relevant real-time documentation that's up to date. Buddy. Bing, bada, boom, bro. And then I did it again by doing proper English versus whatever that developer set that to be. Boom, boom, boom. That motherfucker just ran. That is what I'm talking about. There are no secrets in here, so that's perfect. That's exactly what you should do. And you test client. Yeah, let's set up file with a fake secret. We will do this for all of the scanners. Make sure we get the function. Oh, perfect. All right, let's see. Moment of truth. See if it finds strings. Find those secrets, baby. Cool. Successfully found them. Um, should have lib printed, but also the path here. We didn't run build, bro. Just ran build. The first two. Those out. Hmm. This one. Hmm. bum, bum. Super fun. Hmm. I just add this to the to-do item. Get back to it. Oh. All right. Well, this was a fun session one of working on the VibeSafe MCP server, which we have running. Searches for secrets, finds one, finds them, doesn't find them. Hallmark's correct. That's the sick part of this, and that I love that they have the web tool added as agent. It just went through and scanned through through the comments on the GitHub for this. Find it. What are we thinking here, guys? I got the issue. So let's see if I can get us back. We can restore, which I love this feature of cursor is the restore checkpoint. Let's see if it runs successfully. I'm gonna go ahead and do this. Turn this. Okay. I restored a checkpoint. Expect the npm token. Oh no. Okay. Bummer. So still having this issue. That my whole issue that time. Come on, baby. Let's see a good output. I want to finish this stream on a good note. Yep. Sick. All right, so we got that figured out. Let's add a readme and get ignore file to this project. It make sure to exclude the files as well as our folder. Here we go, test access. Cool. I live on a golf course, and that was somebody slicing the shit out of the ball and just hit the side of my house. And to hit that part of my house, dude, that was nice. Action leave me formatting and with emoji. Oh, and you should commit this guy. Not working. So we should actually reference the read the reference. Name. Mm-hmm. Cool. All right, y'all. Let's push to Git. If you guys want to find it, it'll be there in my repo. My name on there is slowcoder360. All right, y'all. Have a good day. Thanks for tuning in the stream.